everyone, I'm Alison.
And I'm Bryce.
And we're Better Half Reviews. And today we are looking at an expansion for Everdell called Pearlbrook. It's from Starling Games, designed by James A. Wilson, and the art is by Andrew Bosley.
If you don't know how to play the base game of Everdell, check out the thing up there, or over there, whatever side. It is up here for sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
Alright, so now that you know how to play Everdell, let's take a look at Pearlbrook. So Pearlbrook gives you the fancy score pad that you've been wanting, maybe. Lots of sheets, double-sided. At the beginning of the game, everybody gets 2 adornment cards dealt out to them. And they have special powers or abilities and can sometimes get you points at the end of the game, but they cost 1 pearl in order to get. You keep that secret until you can pay for it. So let's take a look at the riverboard. Okay, so with the riverboard, one thing I want to point out, as you can see, is the art matches up perfectly with the river that was already there. So up top, you have the Shoal, and this is where you have these pearls that you can gain. In our version, it's the collector's edition, so they are glass pearls. They're really shiny. Got nice weight to them. And then if you notice, there's these different spots for you, and this is where your frog ambassador will come into play. So you get these cool little frog meeples. And you get 1 for each color from the regular game and the expansion. And so you can go to 1 spot per season. If you go to any of these spots and you're the first one to get there, you get the pearl for free, and then you can flip over a card. And if you have enough of the resources or whatever it asks for, you can sometimes get some bonuses. But in order to visit these spots, you need to have the requirements. So you need 3 production cards, or 2 of the red, 2 of the blue, 2 of the brown. If you decide to visit the Shoal, that's another way to get pearls. You have to pay resources and discard cards. So this is really different compared to the regular Everdell, where you're going to be discarding a whole bunch of resources to get pearls. But why do you care about pearls in this game? It's because of wonders. If you notice, we don't have any of our regular basic events available in this game because you take them out and you put wonders in instead. So you get these thicker pieces of paper and you put it on top and it matches up with the art, and this tells you what you need to get for specific wonders. So here's the 2 pieces. And the wonders are worth points at the very end of the game. They range from 10 points all the way up to 25. But they are hard to get. So this one's Starfall Flames. To get that wonder, you have to pay 3 wood, 3 resin, 3 stone, and 3 pearls, and discard 3 cards. That is a lot of stuff to be getting rid of, especially in the game of Everdell. Everything you have, you end up using pretty much. So that changes the focus of the game, where you're going to be focusing more on maybe getting wonders and collecting pearls, and your city might end up being a little bit smaller than normal. When playing Pearlbrook, you get some extra forest locations. So you get some more variability, and you have to play with at least 1 of those, and you also get new special events, which includes some of the new cards that you get in the game, and you need to play with at least 1 of those as well. So the new cards look really cool. There's a platypus, Captain Platypus. I really love all the blue colors for these. And they have a little icon so that you know it's from Pearlbrook if you want to take it out at a later time. So you just shuffle those into your deck, and you end up having a nice huge deck to go through. So in Pearlbrook, there are 2 different types of river cards. You have destination cards and citizen cards. Who doesn't love axolotls? And let's take a look at the meeples you get for this game. So you get adorable otters, axolotls, platypus, and starling birds. Of course, frog ambassadors for each of them. And for the previous game, frog ambassadors for those. And the last thing I forgot to mention are these open-closed signs. You don't have to use these, but you remember some of those cards that you have an open and closed sign or open sign on it. I often forget that I can use other people's boards when they have those cards. So this is just a friendly reminder to be saying, hey, they've got this card, you can come visit. So there's the small open sign on the card. Instead, you can have this standing up near your card, and if there's a meeple on it, you just turn it over to closed, and people know that they can't visit it. So it wasn't a necessary thing to add, but I think it's totally cool that they did. It just ramps up the amazing table presence that this game has. Okay, so let's talk about what we don't like about the game.
Like the base game, a big concern of mine is you're adding a lot more cards to the deck, and you have very specific special event cards. So I think it makes it worse that you have to get very specific cards to be able to get these special events.
So one of the things that I don't know if is necessarily like something that I like about it is it definitely changes the focus of the game. So Everdell, you're trying to build up your city with your critters and your buildings, and with Pearlbrook, you're shifting your focus if you want to go for the pearls at the Shoal and try to get those wonders because they're worth a lot of points. And the times that I focused on that, my city has suffered. But then again, since the wonders are worth so many points, maybe it kind of balances out, but I like focusing more on my city.
Yeah, definitely. The Pearlbrook Riverboard is hard to get onto in the first place because you have to have a certain amount of cards, or the easy spot to get onto requires you to pay 2 resources and 2 cards just to get 1 pearl.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of, I don't know, it feels a little unbalanced.
Well, then again, the pearls are like, they're very helpful and powerful, especially like with the adornment cards. But yeah, it just feels like a lot to give up when you're so used to like, I need all these cards, I need all these resources, and Pearlbrook is like, no, you don't. Get something shiny instead. So it's just different. So if you get this game, just be prepared to have it feel a little bit different than just the base game.
And personally, I don't really like the difference in it. It is fine to play with, but it's not my favorite expansion out of the 3. Little spoiler there.
So enough about the negatives. Let's talk about the positives. What do we like?
I do like all the new critters. I know I just complained about it adding to the deck and making it bloat out a little bit, but I do really like the new critters. They add a lot of cool little things to the game.
I don't feel like it bloats the deck too much, but it just depends on what you're doing. Sometimes the critters may not be as helpful, or at least the Pearlbrook ones, if you're going more for a traditional Everdell. But speaking of the cards, I absolutely love how all the river cards look. They are gorgeous. I mean, I love blues and greens, and so all of them are like...
Yeah, the artwork, again, just blows my mind. It's really good.
And they have some little Easter eggs on some of the characters in the river cards, so check that out, see if you see any familiar names. And of course, it's Everdell, so we can't not talk about the meeples. Do you have a favorite meeple from this one?
I'd like the little otters.
The otters are adorable, and I love the axolotls and the platypus and the otters. I kind of joke and say that these are basically like having wild berry Skittles because it's like all the colors, or at least the good flavors. But anyway. And the frog ambassadors. I love the frog ambassadors. I like that they're bigger, so that helps differentiate from your other meeples. I mean, of course they look different, but they're bigger, so they stand out more. Oh, side note. We have the collector's edition of Pearlbrook. So there are some things in our game that are not in the retail version.
I do like the expanded forest locations. I think they add a lot of good optionality that wasn't in the base game as well. So like, for example, this one you can get a resin and a pebble, or you could get 4 cards.
Which with Pearlbrook, getting a lot of cards is helpful because you're going to be getting rid of a lot of cards.
And it kind of adds a little bit more choice too. You can go to one location and have options for different resources or cards.
That's true. And something I didn't mention before, as maybe a negative, kind of a negative, is I really wish you could use the frog ambassadors more. You can only use them once per season, and at the very beginning of the season, you don't necessarily have enough stuff to visit here or visit here. And so sometimes I feel like I don't get to use them enough. where I feel like I only have 3 times to use them, and then I get sidetracked with building my city, and I'm like, oh shoot, I didn't save any resources for my frog to come out and do something. But that's maybe just a matter of getting used to it and changing my focus.
Yeah, you definitely do have to change your focus. If you're really focused on building your city, like Pearlbrook isn't going to add much to your game. It's kind of just going to sit there off to the side. You really have to focus on saving extra resources, saving extra cards, make sure you're building consistent cards so you can come to these places that aren't, that require a certain amount of cards to go to.
Mm-hmm. And one thing I have to admit, when I opened up this game and saw that my wonder, or the events, basic events, were getting placed by cardboard, not even cardboard, thick paper, I was like, this seems really cheap. But then when I realized what you need to do with it and you need to stick it on the board, I appreciated that it wasn't thick cardboard, so that it was more seamless with the game and didn't like stick out or cause any problems with things falling over. So I do actually like that they picked this instead of cardboard. And I love how everything flows in the game. I mentioned it before, but like the river board matches up perfectly with the Everdell board. And again, it has little critters along the pathway, and it just, again, adds to the table presence, and it's getting bigger. Just wait.
I was going to say, it'll continue to get bigger too. We might have to record the next video on a different table.
All right, so that's how I feel about Pearlbrook. It looks beautiful. It changes the focus. Will I always play with it? Probably not.
Yeah, I don't feel like I have to play with it. When I do play with it, I have to change my mindset and really focus not just on building my city, but being able to utilize the Pearlbrook
That's true.
cards and area.
So I may not always play with the river board, but I will play with these meeples because they're adorable. All right, so that's what we think about Pearlbrook. If you like what you saw, like and subscribe to our channel, and you can see some more reviews about Everdell and other awesome games. We also have our Instagram, Better Half Reviews. So with that, I'm Allison.
And I'm Bryce.
And we are Better Half Reviews.
Reviews.
Happy gaming.
Have fun.
I caught it this time.